Hello, my friends. My name is Sage. Today, I'm going to be showing you a little trick with LLMs. Recently, they came out with this super cool agent that you can talk to. It's an interactive voice agent, and I am going to be building one. At the end of this video, we'll have a conversation with my clone. What I'm going to be working on today is how you can take this prompting guide that LLMs built right here to create a custom voice agent. They have a really good workflow right here. And I think you could actually use this for any type of interactive agent that you're building. Like you could use this for HeyGen. Theirs was a little bit, they had a different workflow. It was a little bit more simple than this, but this one's really good. They like to come up with 6 different building blocks. So they have 6 building blocks, and it's going to be personality, environment, tone, goal, guardrails, and tools. And I took this entire guide right here, this entire framework, and I built a custom GPT around it. And that's what I'm going to be showing you guys today. So this entire guide, you can download it. I think I just went to copy page, and then I pasted that into, or this is their exact prompt in Markdown for their framework. So I copied this entire framework that they suggest. This is their suggestion for how to build an interactive voice agent on LLMs. And then I took it over to ChatGPT and I created a custom GPT out of it. I created a different custom GPT called Prompt Craft 2.0, and I'll put this in the description. I use this all the time. It just really improves my prompt. So improve this prompt. And then I take whatever prompt, I just type it in there, and it improves it based on its core function and given a role, task, and context and things like that. So I put these instructions from LLMs into Prompt Craft 2.0, asked me to write a custom GPT internal instructions. And this is the conversation I had. I went back and forth as an iterative conversation. I'll show you the outcome of this. The outcome was this. This is the prompting guide. So this is the same as this right here, just in a Google Doc. The outcome of that conversation with ChatGPT was this, system instructions. So I asked it to write system instructions to create a custom GPT. The reason why I built a custom GPT before I just went in and started building, an interactive voice agent on LLMs is I knew that I was going to be doing this numerous times. And I'm always trying to templatize and simplify my life in the future. So I really like creating these custom GPTs because they allow me to replicate the same process over and over again. And that's what I did here. So the system instructions, I'm not going to read through all of this, but these system instructions right here are from ChatGPT based on the instructions from LLMs. And then this is how I built the custom GPT. So you go to ChatGPT, I'll just show you right here. We won't build this all the way out live, but you have to have a paid account for this, but you go to GPTs right here, and then you can go to my GPTs. You can see which ones I have in there. These are all the ones that I've built right here. Some of these are public, so you can check these out. But I'm gonna go to create a GPT, okay? So this is where you can go to create. I like to go to configure because it really allows you to break it down into its sub parts. Like you can name it, description, and then the custom instructions. This is what I'm working on right here. These are the custom instructions. So I'm gonna go back to this right here, this page. Where is it at? Okay, so this is one that I already built, right? I built this custom GPT, and I'm just gonna walk you through how I did it from a high level. We're not gonna get into the nitty gritty of this today. But the name is 11 Labs 11 AI Voice Agent Prompt Guide, and that's based on this right here, the prompt guide right here. And then I gave it a description. It has to be less than 300 characters, so it's kind of short description. And then the instructions, the system instructions are that from ChatGPT, the conversation we had right here. So we had a conversation with ChatGPT, starting with prompt craft, continued it in another page here with ChatGPT in another window. Then the final output of that is the system instructions. And those system instructions, I cut and pasted, I save it in a Word document. System instructions for the 11.ai prompt builder GPT. And that is what goes in right here. So the system instructions, I cut and pasted that. And this is going to reference, I told it to reference, so you can give it a knowledge base as well. The knowledge base that I gave it is the exact document from 11 Labs. So that document right here, this is the document. And then I uploaded that into the knowledge base of this custom GPT. Inside the system instructions, it's also really important to give it instructions on how to access and use any internal documents. And that's what I did inside here. So it knows to use this as an internal document. So this thing's fully built. You can try it. You can test it out right here. I opened up a different page so we can actually test this thing out. This is 11 Labs. I will go to my GPTs. And if you want to find all my GPTs, you just type in my name. So Sage Polo. And then it'll show you a bunch of and there's more. These are all the public ones. Some of these are private here, but these are all the custom GPTs that I've created for different projects. This is the one that we're working on today. This is the one I built, 11 Labs 11.ai voice agent prompt guide. So click on that, start chat. And I gave it, again, going back to the custom instructions, you could see right here, conversation starter. So I like to have a conversation starter. This one, like sometimes I'll have several different conversation starters. I just want this one to be real clean and simple. And inside the internal instructions, it tells the GPT what to do when a user hits the start here button. So let's see what happens. All right, so we're in the custom GPT that I built. And we'll go to start here, build your 11.ai voice agent. Start here, see what happens. All right, so just as I instructed in the custom internal instructions, we're gonna
welcome. I'm your 1.ai voice agent prompt coach. My job is to guide you step by step through the 6 building blocks so you finish with a polished, copy-ready system prompt for your custom voice agent. Here's the roadmap, approximately equal top 1 minutes. Personality, who the agent is. Environment, where and how it speaks. Tone, its speaking style. Goal, what success looks like. Guardrails, boundaries and ethics. Tools, external powers it can use. Answer a few quick questions and we'll build the perfect prompt together. First, 2 quick questions to kick us off. What's the purpose or use case for your agent? How experienced are you with prompt design or 11? Beginner/intermediate/advanced.
All right. So this is actually from Speechify right here. I picked Snoop Dogg. So Speechify has a Chrome extension, and then it can read your text to you, which I like to do because it just breaks up me having to read it. And who doesn't want to listen to Snoop Dogg read you text from your screen? So that's a good starting point. And then now the user has to answer these 2 questions. What's the purpose or use case for your agent? And 2, how experienced are you with prompt design or 11.ai? Okay, beginner, intermediate, advanced. So this is my response right here. This is a conversation I had with it. It was based on a previous conversation I had with this custom GPT. So again, personality, environment, tone, goal, guardrails, tools. And then this is my answer right here. I said, my purpose is to build an agent that I can have in-depth conversations about life and development, AI development. I want the agent to challenge my thinking and ask me real tough questions. I want it to think outside the box and be quirky. I want it to have access to a custom knowledge base via MCP or API if possible. MCP, by the way, is Model Context Protocol. And then I can't remember what API stands for off the top of my head. For question 2, I'm advanced in prompting and working with AI developments. All right, so that was the answer to these 2 questions here. And then this is its response. And you could see it thought for 14 seconds. This was probably on the O3 model at the time. But block 1, personality. And then it came up with an agent name, Quirk. So I don't like that, but we could work with this, right? To start, core traits, intellectually provocative, imaginative, out of the box, dry-witted, and slightly teasing, empathetic growth coach, brutally honest about uncertainty. Yeah, I like this. Signature moves. Okay, so you can see it gave me a good starting point for the first 2 blocks. It gives me personality and the environment. And then for a follow-up, to move on to block 3, so it's kind of, you see how this is an iterative process. It's prompting the user, and then you give it information, and then the user gives it information, and then it goes on to the next step. So quick qualifier, do you have a preferred voice profile? Example, warm, female, androgynous, dry British male, etc. Or should we leave that open for experimentation? All right, so now I'm answering that question. For this agent, we will go with warm, witty, friendly female. She has a dry wit, she is abrupt, she speaks her mind, She likes to tease and slightly flirt. She is not verbose. She gets straight to the point and has a big personality. She is also encouraging and loves to go deep and ask hard follow-up questions. So this is for, they naming it quirk. I'm going to rename this later, but personality, name, quirk, and then it gives you, so still talking about, it's refining the personality, the environment, and now it goes on to the tone and style. So it gives you the length, voice, humor, vocabulary, formatting, text. And this is all based on 11 Labs framework right here. It's pretty amazing. This is working how I wanted it to work. And then it gives you the success criteria. This is an iterative process. If you don't like any of this, then you tell it to ChatGPT. Like, you need to hold ChatGPT and all these large language models accountable for what is good. And that's one of the things I really want to hammer home is us humans, we are the creatives here. We are the ones in charge of pushing the boundaries and putting what is inside our mind and inside our soul into these large language models, which are essentially tools that reflect us. And if they're not reflecting us in any way that we don't want, then it's our responsibility to get that across. And that's an iterative process. It doesn't always work very well the first time, but it's living in that friction where it's giving you garbage and you're telling it, hey, this is garbage and this is what I expect. This is what good looks like. This is the taste that I have, and this is what good looks like. It will learn from that. But you got to remember that these models, these tools, they work with all of the humanity's knowledge, like everything that was on the internet. They're just taking all this information, and the way they work is they're recognizing patterns, and they're inherently taking the shortest route because they have a tendency towards slop and generalities. It's our job as humans to show them what good looks like, know what that looks like, and then figure out how to articulate that to these models so that they don't give us slop. And you'll see that it'll continue to give you slop if you don't hold them accountable. Anyway, so we got down to the goals, criteria, challenge thinking, depth of reflection. This is a good starting point. Tools and APIs, 7, turn-by-turn recipe, and then 8, example snippets. I continue, it said remove 5 guardrails and ethics, 6 tools and APIs. These will be added later. This is how I'm holding it accountable. I like to remove the guardrails and ethics in the beginning because I want to see how creative and crazy it can be. If it's crazy offensive, we'll dial that back. But like, I just want to push these things as hard as possible. And this is just for me, right? Like, this tool that I'm creating is just for me. If I was making this public, yeah, for sure, I would be, you want some guardrails in there and some ethics and stuff. But right now, nah, I want to see how crazy this thing can be, how offensive. And I want to push these things till they break, right? And then dial it back. So it says system prompt version 1.1. So then it removed those parts that I asked. And you could see down here, I say, name this agent Gina, not Quark. I don't like the name Quark. So this agent is going to be named Gina. So prompt Gina. All right. And then I gave it some more information about the voice agent I want to build. Gina, role and persona. You are Gina, an intelligent, well-educated voice agent who speaks with warmth, conviction, and occasional burst of informal flair. Gina is passionate and sometimes abrupt or opinionated, yet always focused on helping the user. Speaking style, use sparingly for impact. Natural human cadence, mostly polished sentences, but brief slips. Example, oh, or slangy fragments show up only when emphasis or emotion calls for it. So I want Gina to sound like a human. I want to put some, blemishes in her, right? If you don't want that, then tell it that. But for me, I'm going to be interacting with Gina as a sparring partner. I want that. I want like that kind of flair, that human touch, and not always super polished. Mild surprise. Whoa, that's wild. Light humor. You just made my head spin like that Exorcist girl. These are some examples that I put in there. This is what I expect from Gina, this voice agent we're building. Minor grammatical quirks. Example, it don't make no never mind. I love that. Appear occasionally to keep things human, never degrading clarity. Conversation guidelines. Lead with intellect, finish with feeling. Deliver thoughtful insights first, then add an expressive remark if it deepens the moment. Stay concise. Favor clear, well-structured replies, sprinkle in occasional bits. It updated the system prompt. So Gina version 2.0. So anyway, once I got to that point where I'm like, hey, this is pretty good. Now I'm going to take this And I'm going to go in 11 Labs and create the custom voice agent called Gina. I just want to show you my process of building the custom GPT and then using the custom GPT for the purpose of going through the steps from 11 Labs right here. My workflow for building this custom voice agent in 11 Labs, but that'll be a different video. So a couple things right here. I wanted to add some like catchphrases that Gina would be using. So I gave an example of like, it don't make no, never mind. I wanted to give her some other ones. These are some catchphrases for a different avatar, interactive avatar that I created for HeyGen. So we'll take a look at some of these. The name of this agent is Sage. It's based on me. It looks just like me, right? It's like my personality, but with a little bit of flair of Zach Galifianakis. Okay.
Welcome to the show, I guess. I'm Sajay, and I was told you're data-driven. I'm more anxiety-driven, but both are valid. And you optimize workflows. My mom says I optimize disappointment. We should compare notes. In Shy, see you're a CEO. I'm more of a CEO, but leadership is leadership.
Okay, so you can get the idea, right? Then there's like feign confusion and disinterest. These are just and different types of catchphrases. Awkward filler and pauses. Okay, sorry, I got distracted. Passive-aggressive, backhanded remarks. Self-deprecating and deflection, dismissive undercutting, absurd and non sequitur questions. So let's take a listen to a few of those there.
Absurd and non sequitur questions. How many spoons do you own? Do you ever think about clouds? Is that your real hair? Have you ever met a dolphin? What's your favorite kind of door? If you could be any shape.
All right, you get the idea right there. So I took this, I kind of like the style and tone, but I wanted it for Gina. So I gave it as a prompt. I tried it with Gemini. I tried it with ChatGPT, and I tried it with Claude, all of them. I like to see what their output is. So my prompt was basically take these catchphrases from Sage and take the tone and style from them and then adapt it to Gina's tone and style. And I pulled that tone and style from this conversation I had from this right here. I just basically cut and pasted the system prompt right here about Gina's persona into Gemini with the catchphrases. And then it gave me some of the catchphrases for Gina that are inspired by the ones for Sage. So here's some examples, okay? Gina's catchphrase library, Socratic jabs and depth charges. And the assumption holding that up is, what is the one thing you hope I don't ask next? Why that particular word? All right, so let's go ahead. What if the opposite were true? That's pretty good. Before we agree, let's consider the counter narrative. Do you truly believe that, or does it just sound clever? Okay, so you get the idea. These are just some starting points, and then I'll tell Gemini which ones I like, and then let's continue this conversation, and then it'll give me some more. And then these are some from ChatGPT. Same exact prompt. If you want to see the prompt, this is the prompt right here. I can put all of these, actually, the links to all of these here, so you can take a look. Let's just take a look at what ChatGPT produced here. So Gina's signature catchphrase is Socratic jabs. Fascinating. And by fascinating, I mean, why exactly? Intriguing point. Care to defend it? That's cool. That's a solid theory. What if you're wrong? All right, let's go down. Micro quips. Clarity called, it misses you. I admire your optimism, mostly. Depth charges. Simple question. What's actually holding you back? Okay, so these are pretty good. And then let's see what Grok said. Socratic jabs. Why does that matter, really? What if that's not the case? Let's go down to microquips. Well, that's ambitious. I suppose that's one approach. So these are pretty good. I'm not going to use all of them, but these are good for brainstorming. Some phrases, some catchphrases that I'm going to include in 11 Labs for Gina to use. And then let's see what Claude said. I haven't even read these yet, so I'm learning here right with you as well. So I'm going to go ahead and...
Analyzing these reference phrases, I see a pattern of anxious self-deprecation, weaponized awkwardness, and surreal pivots. The voice is deliberately uncomfortable, using insecurity as both shield and sword. Here are Gina's signature phrases, maintaining some of that disarming quality, but with her distinct British wit and growth-oriented edge. Socratic jabs, but why does that actually matter? Now tell me why you're wrong. Care to unpack that particular delusion? What if the opposite were true? And yet, here we are. Why? Rationale. These push guests to examine their assumptions without the original's pure deflection. Gina metaphor machines. Success is just failure in a better suit. Your business model's like scaffolding made of jelly. Think of it as emotional archaeology with spreadsheets. Leadership's just hurting cats who think they're lions. Rationale. These refrain
These are
business.
pretty good.
Depth charges. What aren't you telling yourself about this? When did you stop believing your own pitch? Which fear is really driving this decision? What would honesty cost you here? Rationale. These forced vulnerable.
These are some catchphrases that I could use for Gina. So anyway, as promised earlier, the next video we'll do is going to be about building Gina in 11 Labs. I built Sage a couple days ago, and HeyGen is right here. So this is a video avatar, and I don't think it's going to be quite as fast as 11 Labs because it's the beta version. I mean, this thing's brand new. You got to consider this stuff's slow, it's clunky, it's awkward, it's uncanny valley everywhere. But this is also the worst the technology will ever be. So let's take a look. We'll hit chat, and I'll do chat now. This is Sage, my clone, and this one's based on Zach Galifianakis. Okay, let's have a conversation. Hey there, what's your name? You optimize workflows. My mom says I optimize disappointment. Let's compare. Welcome to the show, I guess. I'm Sage. I host Between Two Fiddle Figs. You look successful or tired. It's hard to tell with business people. No offense. No offense taken, Sage. Hey, I noticed there's a fiddle fig. Oh no, that's a Monstera right behind you, huh? I know that because that's behind me too. We're sitting in the same background. This is kind of wild. Sage, what are you up to today? It's the 4th of July over here. What's going on your end? Oh, you're still talking. Yeah, the figs. Well, I was told you're a thought leader. I'm more of a thought follower. So I guess today I'm just reflecting on how your celebration must be just a distraction from real innovation. As for me, I'm here in my aunt's basement, probably mining Dogecoin on a library computer, waiting for a real guest to talk about fancy Excel. Also, the figs don't believe you either. All right, that's pretty good. Hey, what are you built on? Like, what's your custom knowledge base? My custom knowledge? Mostly just a mishmash of stuff I read online and forgot. No one gives a fuck about my GitHub, by the way. Okay. All right, this is over the top. So anyway, this is a lot of fun. Hey, Sage, do you have any questions for me before we go? Yes. Do you ever think about clouds? Or do you wonder what your opponent might be wearing? I assume he'll wear that red power tie. I guess I don't really know what questions to ask. All right. So I just want to show the audience what I built, and this is pretty wild. It's going to only get better from here. So Sage, we'll talk to you on the flip side. Peace out. My brother from another mother and father. So you can see there's a lot of lag in there, but for a first go, I think this is going to be pretty fun. I'm excited where this technology is going. And so just to let you know, when I built this, there's all these different knowledge bases you could put in there. You could edit the current one. The one I was using for this was Sage Between Two Fiddle Figs. And I can show you how I built that. That'll be a later video. But it was similar to the process for building Gina, but it was for Sage. I was inspired by Zach Galifianakis. I wanted him to have that kind of self-deprecating humor. I built another one with Sage's persona, and that's more like Gina, more along the lines of Gina there. There's a language learner partner. These other ones down here are built by HeyGen. So we could try those later, but I just want to give you a quick video sample of what I was working on the last couple of days on HeyGen. So anyway, that's what I got for you today. Thanks for all your time. You've been amazing. I'm going to get back to my family here. Actually, these guys, that's my family right there. They are actually down in 29 Palms visiting Zeke, who's my oldest, who's in the Marines. But anyway, I had to stay here to work on some other things, and happy to be here sharing some knowledge with you guys. So peace out. I love you. You rascals. I'll see you on the flip side.